We all know we're concerned about what's happening on our southern border, whether it's the individuals. We saw this cartel-style killing in Central California with 6 people, including, I think it was a 16-year-old and her 10-month-old child. And the police said it's absolutely cartel-related. It was outside of a cartel known like Cartel Home, and how powerful they are. And, of course, not only is it the people coming over the border, putting the strain on our communities and law enforcement and justice system around the country, but then you also have the drugs coming across the border that are killing Americans. There's enough fentanyl in America right now. Probably, I think it's 10 times it could kill every American,
yeah.
is what they've said.
Yeah, they've said at least 10 times. Every American, not like all users who happen to be, tricked or use fentanyl, or it's been laced. We're talking about, period, population of America. So very wild time.
So we now know that the House Republicans are looking at should they move forward, not just with an investigation of Secretary Mayorkas, but move forward with potentially impeachment. So you have 3 House committees: Oversight, Homeland Security, Judiciary. Harry Hutchinson's joining us now. They're going to look into these hearings and just get a sense would it be a correct move to even initiate that? Usually, Harry, if someone was performing this bad and was this politically detrimental to you, and the border is one of those issues that has been very difficult for the Biden administration, certainly doesn't help them politically. Now that we have Democrat mayors going down, like from New York especially, saying we got to see it on our own, usually they'd be removed. Like you wouldn't keep them on your team. They're a distraction. They're making it more difficult. Put someone new in. So I think it's the only reason Republicans are even having to consider this. But on top of whether they impeach or not, I think that just bringing him forward and saying, okay, what is the problem here? Why, is it because they've been playing politics too? It's if it was a Trump policy, we don't like it, and they tried to reverse course. Then Joe Biden went back down and tried to supposedly reinstitute some of those policies, and we don't know if that's actually going to be happening. But we know Mayorkas he's at the helm here, and he's been a total failure.
You are precisely correct. So Mayorkas is simply a man of lawlessness. And there is certainly a case to be made for impeaching DHS Secretary Mayorkas. After all, he has flouted national immigration law. He has effectively opened American borders while simultaneously claiming that the border is closed. And I think this reflects a deliberate policy preference by the Biden administration. The Biden administration, in my opinion, has no real intention of stopping what is now a 24-month-long invasion. Illegal border crossings now approach 250,000 per month, with tons of fentanyl being seized, child trafficking going up, alongside a boom in sex trafficking. So we have a clear and unmistakable problem, and there is a clear policy argument for removing Mayorkas. However, I think it's important to keep in mind that the House Republicans are somewhat divided with respect to impeaching Mayorkas. The 3 committee chairmen, that is the Oversight Committee, the Judiciary Committee, and the Homeland Security Committee, those chairmen favor impeaching Mayorkas from a policy perspective. But keep in mind that Kevin McCarthy can only lose 4 House Republicans, presuming if we assume the Democrats oppose this initiative. So there are problems, but I clearly support at least a strong and thorough investigation.
Yeah, it puts I think just by starting the process, it puts the pressure on. He's not going to be impeached. There's not going to be 67 votes in the U.S. Senate with the Democrat Senate. But starting the process,
but can I be?
Oh, he can be impeached. Not going to be convicted and thrown out of office. But starting the process, maybe not going as far as actually doing the technical impeachment vote in the House and then causing the trial in the Senate, but the issue is so prevalent, and you're leading up to an election, and they've kind of politicized impeachment.
Yeah, we've talked about
they
that.
impeached Donald Trump after he was president. There could be some points to be made to say it'd be worth having that trial in front of the U.S. Senate, because the American people they'd have to cover it in the news, and we'd get to lay out exactly how bad it is at the border, and that it's not just bad because they can't do anything about it, but because of their lack of actions and interest because of interest groups pushing them to keep open borders.
I think that is correct. So essentially, the Biden administration has paralyzed itself with respect to border policy. The Biden administration is clearly not complying with its constitutional duty. So there has been a dereliction of duty on the U.S. border. And so if cartel-style killings continue to erupt in the United States, this will place additional pressure on the Biden administration. And so I applaud the initiative of the Republicans in launching a thorough investigation and not allowing Mayorkas to get off the hook. Keep in mind that in prior hearings, Mayorkas basically had sympathetic chairman, a Democrat chairman in the House. And so he could get away with fibbing and lying about what's going on at the border. But I think the American people, both Democrats and Republicans, are beginning to demand some type of action. And the Biden administration continues to go down a pathway where they prefer to be tone deaf and blind to a real problem that faces every American.